Hello, property nomads. Hope you're doing well. So, nuclear, UK nuclear is pretty much back on track, although it is probably a lot more expensive than it should be. I read an article a while ago in Money Week, which, by the way, I would highly recommend you look at subscribing to, because it's a very useful magazine. And they were talking about how much more expensive nuclear is nowadays, because it was all down to do with Blair government and internal politics, and they put stops on nuclear 25 years ago. And of course, as with most things, that effect has not really felt at the time, but now it is really being felt, especially at a time when really we need nuclear, and the more nuclear that we have, the better that is, especially if we're looking to do that transition over to more environmentally friendly energy sources. So that's one thing I'd recommend, is have a look at Money Week, and it's a good subscription and it's a good magazine to read. The article I'm looking at says that the Manchester City owner, so basically the United Arab Emirates, could help to build a UK nuclear power plant to power up to 6 million homes. So I love the fact that they label it as Manchester City. But yes, in a nutshell, here are the key numbers. So we're talking about the Sizewell C project on the Suffolk coast. UK government kicked China out with doing a deal a while ago. So Beijing's been removed from the project. French energy firm EDF are ploughing on with it. And Boris Johnson basically allocated £700 million worth of taxpayers' funds to put toward the £1.7 billion project. Now, that's a lot of cash to start off with. Secondly, it goes back to that Money Week article I was reading, to say that actually, if things hadn't been decommissioned and things would have been run differently and the sentiment was different, then actually it wouldn't cost this much now if it was done properly in the first place. And I think that's a key lesson in whatever you're doing in life, is if you're going to do something, do it right first time. And therefore, that should save a lot of issues further on down the line. Because ultimately, because of everything that's going on, it comes out of your pocket, comes out of mine, comes out of any taxpayer's pocket, basically. And things are getting more and more expensive for a multitude of reasons. So yes, £700 million of taxpayers' cash has been designated for this project. They're looking to get the United Arab Emirates involved, or the people that own the Man City Football Club. And in a nutshell, it would literally be madness not to go ahead with the project, because we're at a stage now where we need nuclear. We've needed nuclear for a long time. People are recognizing the fact that we need nuclear. People are also waking up to the fact that nuclear is arguably the greenest of energy sources out there, and that if we're going to be making this transition using base load energy, then we need nuclear as a base load. And in order to do that, you need to produce it, and you need to have nuclear power plants and all of these sorts of things. So people are actually starting to wake up to the fact that that is reality, and that is going ahead. But it's amazing that, I imagine there's probably political undertones as to why they're looking to get the owners of Manchester City on board. Number one, they're incredibly wealthy. But number two, I'm sure that there's some crazy dealings going on behind the scenes as well. But what I would say in this instance is that although the cost of it is very high in comparison to what it should have been back in the day, if we hadn't have been so short-sighted, it's good to see that people are getting on board with nuclear. And yes, if they can get the Man City owners on board, then to build a nuclear power plant that would generate enough power, supposedly, to feed into 6 million homes, then that would be very good, especially as there's around about 27 million dwellings in England itself. That would be a substantial amount of production. I imagine with that, though, as we've said before on the YouTube channel, is that you would also need to look at the grid and also make substantial improvements to the grid as well, because there's no point bringing all this energy on board if the grid doesn't have the capacity to deal with it in the first place. You've got to be able to have the capacity to deal with it in the first place. I'm hoping that that's being worked on behind the scenes as well. For those that oppose nuclear, you just got to do your own research, do your own homework on it. You know my thoughts, you know our thoughts on it. We're pro-nuclear for various reasons, and ultimately, if you want to transition to where you want to go, then it's about negotiation and about taking the pros and cons. You can't just get everyone go off gas and coal and oil cold turkey. Number one, they're going to be around for a very, very long time. Secondly, you need to transition across, and the answer is nuclear, if you want your baseload energy to then be subsidized by a bit of wind and a bit of solar. It is what it is, and that is the answer. So hey ho, but let's see what happens. Good news. Just a shame that it's going to cost a bucket load of cash, because this could have been dealt with a very, very long time ago. But hey, it's not like politics to be short-sighted, hey? Thanks for subscribing to the Property Nomads YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, a little favour, please do go and subscribe. That would be incredibly useful. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video.